On Wednesday, President Muhammadu Buhari reshuffled his cabinet by sacking 2 ministers and redeploying 2 others as replacements. According to the president, the ministers were removed in order to reinvigorate the cabinet in a manner that will deepen its capacity to consolidate legacy achievements. However, while many have hailed the move, others dismissed the changes as too little, too late. Now here to discuss the timing of the cabinet reshuffle and the crisis that is threatening to torpedo the People's Democratic Party is Akin Osuntokun, a political analyst, newspaper columnist, and former political aide to ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo. Good morning, Mr. Osuntokun, and welcome to the show.
Balogun Okemesi, it's good to see you. Congratulations on your elevation to the position of Balogun. But let's discuss Nigeria today. And it's as follows. Yes, as Tundun said, President Muhammadu Buhari has reportedly reshuffled the cabinet by just moving out 2 ministers and redeploying 2 other ministers. Do you think that this amounts to a reshuffle? And then the president is saying he wants to consolidate his legacy, and this redeployment and the dropping, the disengagement of 2 ministers is based on an assessment of performance. Do you think that this has gone far enough, particularly as the president's spokesperson says this will be a continuous process? A continuous process when the government just has less than 16 months to go. What do you think?
No, I think you said it all, that and to do so that it appears a little later, too late, too little. 2 ministers in about a year or less. President Buhari will enter into a phase called the lame duck phase. So it's difficult to see what wonders or what critical difference that kind of reassignment can be. If we are only rearranging, if it only affects 2 members of the cabinet, that cannot really amount to a cabinet reshuffle as such. But what we can do is look at those, where he removed those people in the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Power, and try to understand whether from the little we know or in our own assessment or appreciation, whether those ministers were underperformers or that there were issues with their portfolios and the residence of their job. I don't know how far it is true, but it was speculated in the media that one of them collapsed when he was told that he had been moved elsewhere. But as I said, it's, ordinarily it would be an indication that first, they are not acting up to par, and then that there is something critical or dramatic that the president wants to achieve in those 2 areas. So these are the patterns and what it signifies. But as you have said, as everybody noted, I doubt if there will be if it will make any dramatic difference. But we are told that it's an ongoing exercise. But as I said, it seems as if the beginning is already out of the bottle. At this period, what should be the highest priority of the president is security. And if he can just get that right, well, the price of that, doing that will make up, if he does it successfully, it will make up for a lot of what is regarded as a failure of his government. Power is not where it should be. Agriculture, I'm not an expert in agriculture, but I assume that it has been critically affected by the crisis in the Northeast. Generally in the Northeast, North Central, and Northwest, where because of the activities of marauders and terrorists we read on a daily basis, it will be difficult for farmers to engage in farming, and hence that has implications for food security. So those are two important, very important ministries, and maybe you should have done that before now. But take into consideration, was it his first time or second time? How long it took him, to constitute a cabinet? I'm not sure. I think it was his first time, where it took him all of 6 months to appoint members of his cabinet. If you take 6 months out of the number of years that those people have spent on their portfolios, it seems, I don't know, something doesn't quite gel. But still, let's see. I mean, maybe in retrospect, we'll learn, we'll know what positive difference the exercise will be. People are not very clear as to the reasons why they were removed. But as I said, let's then wait and see what difference those who are appointed were already in the cabinet, the difference it will make.
Well, Osuntokun, let's take a quick break. When we return, the conversation will continue. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. It's still the morning show here on the Arise News channel. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the morning show here on the Rise News. We're still with Akin Osuntokun, talking about President Muhammadu Buhari's recent cabinet reshuffle. If it can be described as such, it's quite modest, just moving 2 people. But as Dr. Abati was saying, the process is meant to be a continuing one. What direction would you like to see it go? You mentioned security earlier. What changes in personnel would you like to see in security or elsewhere?
Well, I have a systemic view of this government of Nigeria. That look, there is it's like, look, this example of ignoring the cause and attacking the symptoms. I don't think this government, the major challenge it has is how to mobilize Nigeria, the Nigerians, before its agenda, right? To get the people committed and mobilized to get governance going. Well, I don't need to tell you that there's a lot of alienation, disappointment, and bitterness in the land, such that it's difficult to rally that kind of citizenry of that description. For government to push an agenda successfully. It's not, I don't know. I mean, we'll still keep coming back to this notion of too little, too late. If it's going to be an ongoing exercise, then why not do it just once? What is it that you want to know now? What is it that you don't know that you hope to know within the time left in office for you that you don't know now about the capacity or the necessity of the changes you need to make? So, but as I said, the Nigerian system, the economy, and the polity, is holistically bad, it's holistically diseased, such that taking something out, isolating one challenge for attention is not enough. One will affect the other. Now look at terrorism, for instance. It has had a lot of effect or impact on agriculture. Now, so if you want Nigeria today, anybody who wants to do anything, any government wants to do anything seriously about agriculture, has to factor that incident, terrorism that is rampant in the land, into what he has to do. Well, it was the president, when he came in, in 2015 who said the first priority of any government is the security of the state. Now, it's correct, because without security, all other things that you are going to do, it will be to that extent limited. So, but he has, up till now, I don't think that he has gotten the security right. I mean, look, I'm yet to see, we will await what wonders the Minister of Agriculture will do. I mean, given the state of destabilization, violence and instability in almost all the zones in the north. And of course, we have had a spillover of that also in the south. But where I come from, Ekiti, for instance, I know for a fact that about 60% of farmers no longer go to their farms. So what you need to do, I mean, of course, there is corruption too. I mean, if you want to pump money, if you want to do anything seriously about the implementation of your policies, that's another area you need to look at. I just hope that what we read on and hear about the depth and, of corruption in contemporary dispensation is not true. But if it is, that also will subvert, any isolated agenda you want to focus on. So if you are talking about power, you are talking about agriculture. Now, you cannot take that in isolation. What we have witnessed since 2015 tells us as much. As I said, anybody who wants to seriously address the problem of agriculture today in Nigeria will have to contend with insecurity. I mean, you remember the last time that the spokesman for the president was saying that the farmers who were killed on their farm did not take permission or something for them to go. I mean, so you see, this is the situation we find ourselves. As far as I can see, the president said he doesn't want to end up, or he will not end up as a failure. But what he needs to do, if that is truly, now, is to now use the rest of his time, in trying to mobilize Nigerians, in trying to get people involved or whatever in his going. Without that, the government cannot go far.
So in Nigeria, does the changes really make any effect? I mean, I remember how we all clamored, change service chief, change service chief. We changed the service chiefs, but the security situation has not improved. So does it really make any effect? A lot of people are just saying this is scapegoating.
No, that's why I said it has to be systemic. You cannot just pick one and do anything successfully about it. Even the power we are talking about, right? Because of whatever it is, there are people, the scavengers, who go and remove wires, on electricity poles to sell or something like that. The railways that they are laying, we have been reading stories of how it is being stolen, even, to go and sell back in China. So the point I'm making, and that you have said, is it is difficult to isolate just one area for attention. There are things in Nigeria, the kind of problems we have is systemic, is system-wide. And it makes it difficult to just pick an area that, okay, this is what I want to do. Now, the only one that has the potential to either undermine or boost the chances of the success of those other areas is security, right? If you have security is the precondition, right, for any other things that maybe you want to achieve, for the challenges you want to confront. If you can get it right, security or lack of it affects mobility, for instance. Now you want to travel. A lot of people, I'm sure that if anybody is taking opinions or statistics of mobility in the system, you'll find out that it has maybe diminished a lot. Because people, for whatever reason, don't want to travel. Well, not for whatever reason. For security reasons, believe that, look, they have no business, traveling on the roads especially. Now we have also learned that they also it also affects even the newly reconstructed rails. So you have to take all that. Mobility is very essential, to the optimal functioning of the economy. But as I said, I'm aware because, if I'm a typical Nigerian, you think twice before you set out on the road to wherever you are going. So it still comes back to the same issue that you have to look at it. Whatever you want to do, you have to look at it from the perspective of the whole system.
Well, Osuntokun, just before we begin to wrap up, we have only just a few minutes left. You were reported in the papers recently as the coordinator of a group known as the Oni Caucus. And that Oni Caucus was linked to the politics of the arrest of Sunday Igboho in the neighboring Benin Republic. Now, what is the Oni Caucus all about? Was it set up strictly for Sunday Igboho as was reported in the newspapers?
No, but potentially, and as it happened, it was one of the areas of challenges we set out to confront. Basically, the idea was to bridge the vacuum between the traditional rulers, the topmost traditional rulers, bridge that vacuum and the gap between them and the society and the elite, and so that as Nigeria disappoints or rose back, as confidence in the durability and sustainability of Nigeria as a going exercise intensify. The first law of survival is self-preservation. So you need to go and secure, this is the philosophy behind it. You need to go back and secure. In any case, that's the way it's meant to operate under federalism, right? To secure your base, to integrate as much as you can that, And in any case, the Southwest has faced common challenges, and these are leaders that, it personifies, the Yoruba people to a large extent. And so he has a role to play, and for him to play more effectively, is the need to team up with him, to serve as his emissaries, to advise him, and to also take initiatives, going forward about the challenges that are confronting the Yoruba people. So there was the vacuum. The Southwest and Nigeria itself is trending towards a leadership vacuum, and it has been doing so for quite a while. So that's what we are doing. We are responding to that vacuum. And, individually we have contributions that we can make. But if we pull those individual contributions together, it will be that much effective, in the overall. We share, the same anxieties, confusion, about what is going on. And so if we come together under the umbrella of in a pan-Yoruba setting, we will be that much effective in responding to the challenges that come before us. And of course, the emphasis is on, the relatively younger generation, right, who are active and individually, expressing the crises and difficulties we are going through. And so, let's come together under the umbrella of Dioni himself, who initiated the idea, to grapple more effectively with the challenges that confront us commonly in the Southwest and then maybe in Nigeria. I don't know if you are satisfied with that.
Yes.
Because you are also a member. You are also a member anyway. So
I think that's fine enough. And thank you very much for joining us today on the Morning Show. Balogun Akin Osuntokun.